Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon,
Good
whatever
morning.
we want to call it. How's everybody doing? Happy Wednesday.
I hope you're feeling better, Patty. It's your sisters. Just wondering if you can possibly send us any of that information on our ex-tenant so we can proceed forward on our own.
I will absolutely do that. I've dedicated this afternoon to you guys.
Oh, great. So you'll keep us, you'll, yeah, we're probably gonna,
I know I saw that too, and I agree with you. I see why. Okay,
okay,
I agree with that too. So I'll give you a call when we're done with the webinar today, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do moving forward.
okay, thank you. And in case we miss your call, just mail us what you have so that we can get started. That'd be helpful. Thank you.
No worries, you got it. I'll even
Okay,
do
thank
anything I can to help you. All right.
Thank
No problem. All right, everybody. I'm not sure what everybody wants to talk about today. The two things that I want to stress, and I'm going to keep saying this until November, so forgive me. No on 33, yes on 34. That's what we need to be doing at this point. Just tried to get in. Let's see if I can let them in. I'm getting better at this. I am. Here we go. We're getting everybody in here. Yaddy dotty. Okay.
Patty Agla's having a fundraiser August 20th in Beverly Hills to raise money for it.
For the pack, I saw that and I wanted to go so desperately, but that's one of the reasons why I'm on here today, because I need to let you guys know that I am leaving. I'm going on a vacation. Patty hasn't had one in quite some time. So I will not be available next Wednesday. Okay, just so everybody knows. Wednesday with Widget next week is canceled. My sister is requesting my presence, so I'm going to go visit my sister. All righty. Just so everybody knows, I'm not available next Wednesday, so we are not having Wednesday with Widget next week. Okay, it will be canceled. You're going to get an email saying I've gone fishing. It's not a lie. Just so everybody knows. Also, we have a class with Agla next week about red flags and when to notice them, what to notice on a red flag. A lot of things happen to us on a daily basis, and I pick out those red flags right away because I'm keyed into them. But a lot of us, my cats are going crazy. The kittens from hell today, let me tell you. I lost my train of thought because I hear the crash in the back room and in the background, and I'm like, what did they just destroy? I'll find out in about 45 minutes, right? So one of the things that I want to talk to you guys about with red flags, and there's so many of them in this industry. And I mean that there's so many of them because some things just go hand in hand together. They're not really a red flag. Example, when you raise your tenant's rent, they tell you about everything that's broken or needs to be repaired on the property. That's just par for the course. That's just, they go hand in hand together. You raise their rent, they tell you about everything that needs to be repaired. That's just how the cookie crumbles, so to speak. It's cause and effect. It's action and reaction. So that's what you get there when you raise rent. So know for a fact that when you raise the rent, the tenant is going to tell you about repairs, preventative maintenance, or something else that needs to be addressed in the property. They just go hand in hand together. So I used to tell my landlords, they'd say, Patty, I want you to go ahead and raise the rent. And I tell them right away, get ready for the list of repairs. Really? Yes, if you raise the rent, you can expect a list of repairs. I hope this makes, so don't get mad when it happens. Be warned that that's what happens in the industry, cause and effect, action, reaction, okay? And know for a fact that they're going to give you a list of repairs. So the last time I wanted to do a rent increase for a tenant that I know oh so well, here's what I did. I went to the property, did a preventative maintenance inspection, walked the property, asked them if they had any repairs or anything that needed to be addressed. When they told me no, that they didn't have anything, then I did the rent increase. So if you want to avoid that problem, that's what you do. Okay? Cause and effect, action, reaction. You may want to go do a preventative maintenance inspection before you do a rent increase, knowing full well what's going to come after the rent increase. But there's a lot of things in our industry that go hand in hand together. Great examples of that are if you are managing a single family residence and the tenant is asking you for additional trash cans, it's because they have additional occupants. I hope this makes sense.
Okay, so you go and you do your preventative maintenance. They tell you what's wrong or nothing's wrong. You do the rent increase and then you get the same thing. So, then what?
Right. So what I'm trying to warn you is a lot of landlords go, man, I raise the rent and they give me a list of repairs. That goes hand in hand. Don't get upset about it. It's par for the course. It's just what happens in this industry. So if you mentally prepare yourself for the list of repairs or go in advance and do the preventative maintenance inspection and then do your increase, know that those repair lists are coming. So don't get yourself frustrated is what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're going to stop it. What you're stopping is the list of repairs coming when you raise the rent. Sometimes if you do a preventative maintenance inspection in front of that, you avoid it, but not always. Okay? It's just something that goes hand. There's a lot of things that go hand in hand in this industry. 9 times out of 10, if you're chasing a horrible smell, it's not rotten food you're looking for. It's something that's died. It may have 2 legs, it may have 4 legs, but you're usually looking for something that died. If you don't make a mental note of that before you go skipping off on your little adventure to go find what the problem is, you could find yourself rather shocked rather quickly. Especially if you go skipping along and find a body. Okay, it's not something that happens to us every day, and we're not always mentally prepared for it. Those of us that have dealt with a death in a unit know exactly what I'm talking about. It actually takes a toll on us for a few days, believe it or not. It mentally messes with us as property managers. Yeah, ask my Roadrunner girls. They'll tell you. They know. No, they know. And I will never forget, and I can see the person's face. I know their name. I'm not going to say it on here because it's so messed up. And you always get a barrage of calls in this industry. I remember one time I answered the phone and, hi, this is Patty. How can I help you? And I could hear stiletto heels running on concrete or asphalt. It makes a very distinctive sound. And I knew that they were running. Whoever was calling me was running in stilettos on asphalt. And all I could say to them on the other end of the line was, run, because I didn't know what was chasing them. You never know. And Patty, there's a dead body. There's a dead body. Okay, calm down. It's not chasing you. Calm down. So sometimes I get those, and sometimes I get that. Hey, Patty, how do you deal with a death in a unit? Well, it depends. It depends on if there's next of kin coming forward. It depends on if they died in the unit and the coroner declared them dead there, or if the ambulance took them away and they died at the hospital, then they didn't die on your property. There's a lot of moving pieces. Why are you asking? Because I'm standing here in front of the unit and the curtains are wide open and I can see the guy sitting on the couch and he's definitely dead and very naked. Just very calm. Well, how do you deal with a death in a unit, Patty? I'm standing here looking at him through the window. He's definitely dead and very naked. You might want to call law enforcement and get off the phone with me. It happens, okay? So know that if you're chasing a smell, you probably don't want to find the cause. Okay? You don't want to find the cause. All right, let's skip right past that. But I was talking about things that go hand in hand together. It's important for us as owners and us as landlords to know what those things are so that when they happen, we don't get upset. I know for a fact if I'm going to raise my tenant's rent, get ready because here comes the repairs. If you already know that's what's going to happen, just prepare yourself for it mentally so that when it does happen, it's not so shocking. Oh, I just wanted to let you know I paid my rent increase this month, but I have a list of repairs. Of course you do. Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and get started on those right away. Okay? But just know that that's what happens. I don't like you guys making yourself angry and frustrated. Let me put it this way. If you're sitting in your house and you're watching the news, okay? And you see a tornado is coming for you, a hurricane, okay? Hurricane Widget is coming right for you. Okay? Are you going to sit there and brace for it? Are you going to think, oh, it's going to make a 90-degree turn at the last minute? If you know that it's going to happen and you prepare yourself, sometimes it's not so shocking when it does happen. And all I'm trying to do is get you to put your anxiety where you need to have it and remove it where it's unnecessary. And rent increases come with repair requests. It's just what happens in this industry. Okay? Mark that as a fact. All right, what do you guys got? Who's got what?
So I have one for you, Patty. This is Mary in Arsenault.
Hi.
Just based upon what you said just now, how are you doing, number one? I've been absent for a while, but I'd like to know, how do you handle the situation when, yes, they've only been there, they haven't been there long enough to have a bunch of wear and tear, but there's a whole lot of damages to the floor, the door, and walls because they, have their furniture up against it, and they're asking for those things to be corrected. Do I correct it because that's not normal wear and tear? It's only
These are damages. I got you, baby. These are damages, not wear and tear. So if you'd like these corrected, I'd be more than happy to do it for you, but it's going to be at your expense.
Okay.
And regardless, it needs to be done prior to you vacating.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
No problem. I see questions coming in, so I'm going to try to get some of those. We have hi Val, first of all, hello. We have a and Miriam, you asked me a question of how am I doing? I'm doing okay. I'm doing much better than I was 2 weeks ago and much, much better than I was 3 weeks ago, to answer your question. Okay? Much better. 180-degree turn.
I'm glad to hear that. It
Yeah,
wasn't COVID, was it?
I'm doing much, much better.
Okay.
So we have a very elderly tenant. I raised her rent a measly $50 this year, not even the maximum allowed. And then the complaints started. Exactly. We had added a window AC unit a few years ago because it was too hot for the evaporative cooler. But now that wasn't good enough. So we replaced the cooler with a brand new AC unit. Now she wants a second handrail for the second stairs she steps down. Now she wants 2 new screen doors. Hold on. Install the second handrail as a health and safety issue. Okay, Val? No joke. She wants 2 new screen doors. She can put them in at her expense. The ones that are there are still functionable. If she'd like to install new ones, you'll allow her to do that at her expense. I got you. So those things that she's asking you to do to fix the house up because the screens are old and rusty, let her know she can do that at her expense, that they're still functionable and you're not interested in the cosmetic upgrade. Hi, Julia. Single family resident, San Bernardino. Thanks in advance. You act like you think I'm going to know how to answer the question. I'm sorry, I'm being funny. All right, here we go. What if tenants start giving you trouble at move-in when you're going over the rental agreement and complying with all the rules? Can we say we're not going to proceed with them moving in? No. You can say to them, these are the rules and this is what it's going to be for you to live here. If this isn't going to work out for you, I don't want to proceed any further. Got that? I didn't tell them I'm not moving them in. I said I'm not proceeding with the move-in any further. That's how you get out of that one, okay? I've had real estate agents show up on a tenant move-in trying to be there for their client and tell their client how it's gonna go. And basically I tell them, your job duties in finding them a property are now over. They are my client and I can't proceed with you here. So I'd love to reschedule for a date when the client is available on their own, but I'm not gonna do the move-in inspection with you here, as you are no longer a party in this action. You've been paid. You earned your commission. GTFO. And for somebody that doesn't know what that is, Google it on Urban Dictionary. How much coverage for rental insurance? How much? Are you asking me how much is coverage for rental insurance? Because it depends on how much your tenant wants to insure. It usually runs them a $50 deductible and costs them about $15 a month, if that helps you.
I meant like
that's
for the policy, is it like
Like
100,000?
300,000 to 500,000. I'm seeing 500,000 as the industry standard currently.
Oh, wow. I was just gonna say 100,000. So
No,
300,000?
you need to look at it as if you want me to say it a different way? And I'm not trying to freak out anybody there, okay?
Okay.
All you people out there, don't you freak out on me. The reason that I'm gonna say this is look at it this way. If you, landlord, are going to get sued for something, you're not getting sued for $10,000. You're getting sued for $200,000, right? If the tenant does something that makes negligence and someone else has an injury because of the tenant's negligence, I want them to have enough insurance coverage that they don't go after the landlord, they stop at the tenant. Oh. Did that just make sense for all of you? The idea for your insurance coverage and the minimum requirement that you require is so that the tenant has enough insurance to cover whatever happens so they don't come after the landlord's insurance.
Is a
Okay?
good rule of thumb to go based on how much your property is worth? So let's say it's
I
400.
make my tenants get anywhere between $500,000 and $1 million in liability coverage.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Look at it this way. If you get sued, you're not getting sued for, like I said, 10 grand. You're getting sued for $1 million, right? So my theory is I want my tenant to have really good coverage so that whoever's attacking them before they get to me, they got to go through my tenant's insurance. And if my tenant has coverage of $500,000, the likelihood of them then banging on my door because there's not enough insurance coverage there is slim and none. I hope this makes sense to you guys. By favoring people in a protected class, aren't you discriminating those in a non-protected class? Absolutely. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but I could help you distinguish it a little bit better if you want to throw some more.
Yes, and
information at
I might have to just call you in regard to this, but I'll say that I have applicants and one of them is disabled and they have already informed me that they are disabled.
Okay.
So, and they've even thrown out because they didn't want them to be on the rental agreement because they're not working because they are disabled. And so I said, no, all
I'm sorry,
adults.
my criteria requires all adults 18 or older to be on the contract.
And exactly, that's what I said. And
can I explain to you why?
Yes.
Something is going on there and they don't want that person's name held financially responsible.
Yes, because she is the financial provider, and which she is. She has great credit and a great job. So she already informed me, well, I'm surprised with the ADA. And I said, well, if you want to proceed, this is how it's going to go.
Well, look at it this way. Look at it this way and hear me out, okay? In the event, and you got to pick and choose your battles. Because yeah, you're talking about ADA, you're talking about somebody that's on disability and you can never get a dime out of them. So at the end of the day, does it matter if you name them or not? Yes, you need to know who's in the house so that you can complete an eviction and do things properly. As far as the rest of it, you understand what I'm saying to you? You cannot collect their funds. Disability welfare, help me, child support, there's something else that I just can't, you can't garnish the wages. So it's just something you need to know going in, that you're not going to be able to get anything going out. So if you have the right mentality going in, it will help you, not harm you.
Got it. And one of the applicants is perfect, but then the other applicant, the one who is disabled, is technically they have decent credit. However, there is on there the fact that they had $10,000, like it says a credit union, and that there was they were, it was collections, and it says like bad debt skip. And that's what came up on their credit report. And I don't want to be the one to not proceed with someone, because I don't want it to be turned around as this is because of a disability. However,
and again, look at it this way. If they're a completely disabled adult and mom is their, don't give me the word, power of attorney medically and financially, then we're going to ride mom's coattails anyway. Is mom planning on living in the property with this disabled adult?
yes.
Take the application.
Okay. I
get
just
what
felt
I'm
like,
saying?
oh, yes, I just didn't know, being that it's like, I wouldn't, had that person not had a disability, then I would have said no, because you don't fulfill the requirements. I said on my thing, no collections, no bad debt, all of that. So I did feel like, wait, aren't I but again, I don't want to, she's already saying ADA. So.
You got to be extremely cautious with the bad debt. And hear me out, okay? What we are about to have happen is a 2007, 2008 all over again. The writing is on the wall. And if you guys don't understand the hieroglyphics, let me tell you, we cannot keep going at the rate we are going. The price of everything has increased by 1/3. It is 1/3 higher than it used to be, except for our paychecks. We cannot keep moving at this rate. Right now, what we're seeing is tenants aren't paying their utilities, they're paying their rent. And then the following month, they're not paying their rent, they're paying their utilities, and they're robbing from Peter to pay Paul to make ends meet. And most of Californians are doing this right now. Most. Okay? We cannot keep on this path. Our government is not doing anything to fix the problem. In fact, they're adding to it by us Americans paying for people seeking asylum. Okay? It is driving down the American dollar very, 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 very rapidly. Okay. With all of that said, we have to be very careful what we're doing, who we're allowing and who we're not allowing. And what I'm trying to tell you guys is we're going to see a lot more shitty credit in the very near future, because a lot of these owners, and you guys know as well as I do, we're trying to hold on to our investments. We're trying to hold on to our asset. We can't raise the rent. It's no different than not getting a raise. You're still faced with all these expenses. So although it's on a different playing field, and it's not on a game of chess or checkers, it's actually a game of Monopoly going on over there. The tenants are having the exact same battle that we are, just on a different playing, on a different game board, for lack of a better way to say it. And I don't know what you mean by favoring people in a protected class. We're going to have to get into that, because people ask me all the time, source of income is a protected class. Okay. Source of income is a protected class. I'm thinking something through. Can you guys see all the little things firing off in my brain?
Yes.
The reason being is, look at, well, I'm trying to give you a great analogy, okay? And I do this, so bear with me, okay? I go to the local hospital when I have a vacancy, and I go into human resources and I ask if I can advertise my home for rent on their employee newsletter board. Am I favoring a protected class?
Not really.
I mean, I guess you could reach for a straw and try to say I am, but I'm not favoring them. I'm just trying to cater to them. Make sense?
Right.
There's all kinds of things that we do that are on the edge of the fence. You know? All right, let's get to our next question. How do you explain to applicants that they aren't getting their full security deposit refunded to them? Example, cleaning fees without saying automatic fees. You can't. Do you understand that you can charge 1 month's rent as a security deposit and $500 as a cleaning fee? But that means you can't charge them for cleaning when they vacate. You charged them when they moved in, and that is a fee. Let me explain something to you. The difference between a fee and a deposit is one is refundable and one is not. Okay? Now that you've wrapped your head around all of this and you have this really great idea to add all these fees on your rental property, please take one other thing into consideration. Any hidden expenses put onto the tenant need to be disclosed in your advertisement. So if you are charging a cleaning fee of $200, $500, whatever, and you're asking them to pay that in advance so that the cleaning expenses are covered when they vacate, trust and believe me and mark my word, if you're charging them $500 for cleaning, they're not even taking the trash out. Okay? Okay. So you can't say that and you can't explain to them that they're not getting their full security deposit back. If they leave that house flipping immaculate, you're not charging them. You can't.
But don't I have the right to get it cleaned? If it was professionally cleaned, I have the right to get a professionally cleaned when they move out.
Yes, but if they move out and they left it immaculate, are you still going to charge them to have it professionally cleaned? No. Right? What if they call you, and this is me just talking out loud, and they say, we're going to go ahead and move, but we want to get our entire security deposit back. So what's the name of your cleaner so we can hire them directly?
Yes, that I would do. If you want to hire them directly, you can, but you cannot clean it even in corporate management, we said, no, you can't necessarily leave it clean, but you can't do the cleaning yourself, just like you wouldn't want the previous tenant to have cleaned it for you. Everyone wants it professionally cleaned. But
exactly. And everybody has a different definition of what clean is. And I'll tell you, I've had a few tenants in my career that they'd come into my office saying my office was filthy. They wanted everything sanitized twice a day. Clean, okay? So just be careful with that and charging an automatic cleaning fee, or automatically charging them for cleaning out of their deposit. You need to be cautious with that, because if they left it sparkly pretty, then you have to leave it sparkly pretty. Let me see what else I got. How do I think I left something. How do you define wear and tear, and can you give me an example? No, I can't define wear and tear. You know what I can define? Damage. And you guys say it to me all the time. Well, when the tenant moved out, they damaged the floor. When the tenant moved out, they damaged the wall. It's damage. You guys know it's damage, but you always argue in your own brain is this wear and tear? Wear and tear is the consistent use of something. It has nothing to do with cleanliness, and it has nothing to do with damage. So when you're doing a disposition of security deposit, you have 3 different definitions, actually 4, that you can go by. One is damage, one is wear and tear, one is cleanliness, And between those three things, you should be able to determine whether it's clean or not, whether it's damaged or not, and whether or not you have some wear and tear issues that need to be addressed. Wear and tear is not cleaning. Example, wear and tear. Cabinet door opens and closes a bazillion freaking times during a tenancy. The screws fall out of the hinge onto the ground, and now the cabinet's hanging cockeyed. Damage or wear and tear?
Wear and tear.
Bingo. Wear and tear is because it's being used. Carpet gets worn out because of wear and tear. We've all seen it. You see the high traffic areas, right? Even in cleaning, high traffic areas, okay? And if you guys want to know what is wear and tear, look under Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, landlord security deposit. It'll tell you. My rental agreement, it says an 18-day notice for abandonment. Can I lessen that number? No, that's California state law. 18-day notice for abandonment on real property, 18-day notice of belief of abandonment on personal property. The caveat on both of those is if you personally hand them the notice, it's not 18 days, it's 15 days. It's only 18 days if you post and mail the notice. And if the law changes, now your lease is wrong. So whenever your rental agreement states a date like that, I want to remove that. Does that make sense? Let's say that on January 1st, the law changes is now it's not an 18-day notice for abandonment, it's only 3. If you don't change your lease, you're giving the tenant an additional 15 days. That's on you. So whenever something says, I have to give an 18-day notice for abandonment, that shouldn't even be in your lease. That's process and procedure. That's cause and effect. It's not a requirement to be in your rental contract. Make sense? Can you ask that they increase their current coverage with a 30-day notice? Christina, I think what you're asking me is, can you ask a tenant to increase the amount of coverage that they have on their rental insurance? The answer to that question is, it depends on the municipality that governs you. In the event that your tenant is in a municipality that doesn't allow you to cause additional expense to the tenant after inception of the lease, with the exception of rent control rules. Patty, what did you just say in simple English? Because you even confused yourself. Patty, what I said was, yes, you can, unless you're in a city that says that you cannot put additional expenses on a tenant after the lease starts. Example, City of Los Angeles doesn't like additional expenses to be put on the tenant after inception. Also, the county is starting to go down that bandwagon. So outside of LA County, yes, all day long, to answer your question. Inside LA County, it's going to take a little bit of research. Val, a tenant has renter's insurance with $100,000 liability. I'm still in the middle of a lawsuit where this tenant's dog bit someone and they're suing me, the owner, as well. I haven't heard the exact amount of that suit, but I'm assuming it may be more than $100,000. Now you understand what I mean, Val. If you had a requirement of your tenant to have $500,000 in insurance, the likelihood of that lawsuit coming after you, the landlord, is much less than it would be if they only had $10,000 in coverage. I agree. I agree with both of you regarding giving a 30-day notice to increase their liability, if it's allowed by the municipality, meaning rent control. Sorry, guys, someone just tried to call me. My bad. And if the renter has already filed a claim regarding this incident, can he still upgrade his coverage going forward? Yes. And I wonder if his insurer would do it. I can't answer that. Now, I wonder if a 3-day would be better than a 30-day. You have to give them a 30-day notice of change of terms of tenancy, letting them know that you're changing the rules. And instead of them having $100,000 in rental insurance coverage, you're requiring that they have $500,000 in liability on their renter's insurance coverage. Yeah, I got you, Christina. I was just speaking out loud because I don't want somebody that has a house in the city of Torrance that's governed by city of Los Angeles's rules to go, oh, I can go ahead and do that because they can't. You can, they can't. So I have to be careful how I say things so everybody doesn't think that they can go do what you're speaking of. I hope that makes sense.
So Patty, let me ask you a question. I'm
Okay.
involved in a situation right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, part of the lawsuit has been about, from day one, I asked this tenant to provide me the renter's insurance. She signed it in the lease agreement. She's under Section 8. And she agreed she was going to do it. And then after I started asking her about it, now she's been saying now for the last few years, she can't afford it. She can afford everything else, but she does not want to afford that. But she doesn't have any renter's insurance. And I'm actually taking her to court because, of some other things. But anyway, we're about to go to trial pretty soon, by next week.
Can I ask you a question off the record?
Sure.
Bench trial or jury trial?
Jury.
Settle as quickly as you can. Get the hell out of the legal process.
Right. Because
Here,
I
here's
don't wanna.
something you didn't expect Patty to say to you guys, okay? The
Okay.
legal system is broken, okay? It is not there to favor us as the landlord. In fact, I can tell you one thing the legal process is guaranteed to prove you. It's guaranteed to do what's right at the end of the day, okay? That's what the legal process is going to do. It's going to do what's right, okay? How much money do you want to spend to prove you're right?
Let me give you this quick scenario, really quick. I had offered this person 5 months of rent and $2,000 to relocate. That comes to $7,750. We had a mandatory settlement conference last Monday. She came back and said she wants $30,000 to get out. And I told the attorney as well as the judge, I'm not doing that. So let's go ahead and move forward. I feel like it's a form of extortion because she's broken the lease. She is non-compliant, not me. Why should I try to improve her situation?
Miriam, is this you?
Yes, it is, hon.
Okay, let's talk about this. Do you want to
Okay.
know why they asked for $30,000?
Because it's going to run me about $40,000 in a jury trial.
Bingo, number one. Number two, does the tenant advocate group or the free attorney that's been appointed to your tenant make any money off that 30,000?
I have no idea.
They get 33 1/3% of any money awarded to the tenant.
Okay.
Okay. That's why they ask for money, is they have skin in the game. They get 1/3 of it. Okay. Remember that. That's why they ask for money.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to free legal counsel, pro bono, nonprofit? No, they want 1/3 of the money awarding to the tenant. So their idea is they're going to rake you over the coals, hold your foot to the fire, and put the pressure on you of not getting any income and bleeding money with your legal counsel until they can get you to negotiate somewhere closer to the number they want.
And because it's a matter of principle, and because this person has done it to the previous tenant, the previous landlord, I refuse to succumb to her BS. And that's really the truth of the matter. And because
So it's
to me,
one of those instances of how much money are you going to spend to prove you're right? Because that's all you're doing right here is proving you're right.
mhm.
Remember that, okay? Please, I beg all of you guys, how much money are you going to spend to prove you're right? So
So
I
let
don't
me-
want to spend anything. I want to come up
Right.
with a settlement. I'm sorry, your $30,000 is unreasonable unless you're moving out in the next 10 days.
Mhm.
You want more money? I'm going to give you less time. That's how that's going to work.
Mhm.
You want 30,000? I'll give you $30,000, but you owe me all your past due rents. You're going to be responsible for damages at the property, and you have exactly 5 days to vacate.
Okay. And see,
I mean,
I'm
if what they're
I'm
asking
already
you
about,
is ludicrous,
okay, go ahead.
ludicrous it right back at them, okay?
Okay. I
I'm
got
not
that.
your typical landlord here. I'm ready to take this all the way to the lockout.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when they hear that, and when they see that, and when they're not budged by anything, then they may be able to come to a different agreement with you. But what that other attorney's doing by throwing out that high dollar amount is they're testing the temperature of the water.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
They're testing the temperature of the water.
What I would like from you, if you could provide it, I would like for you to provide me a copy or sample of the complete, including all of the addenda for on a rental agreement. I've been typically using Aglis, but I would like to see what is the best one out there, no matter what the company is, because I don't think this one has been sound enough. Because what I learned from the attorney that I have is that if you submit let's say a 3-day notice to perform or quit, and you continue to take the rent, they said that is considered acceptance. If you see them doing anything,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so I'm
Once
supposed
you
to stop
accept
taking.
the rent,
Okay.
exactly. Once you serve a cure or quit, you're not supposed to take any more rent.
And I did not know that.
Look at it this way though, okay? And
Okay.
follow me, okay?
Okay.
Let's talk about something petty.
Okay.
There's a relationship brewing between your tenant and a new boyfriend, okay? And I'm just talking out loud. Hasn't brewed yet, but this guy keeps coming over and spending the night. So you serve them with a 3-day for unauthorized occupants. Because
Okay.
it's getting a little too much, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Now, we know we're not going to evict because we know he's not living there. He's just overstaying.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Okay.
So we're going to serve a cure or quit notice to let them know we see you. We know what you're doing. You got to be
Okay.
careful.
Okay.
It
Okay.
doesn't mean I'm going to stop taking the rent. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say 6 months from now, I have to serve another one. I'm still not going to stop taking the rent because I'm not evicting. If
Okay.
you're evicting, you're not accepting money. We know when we start to do something, whether or not we'll be taking this to the, I forgot the terminology, but if we'll be taking this all the way to the end of the line, so to speak, or
Okay.
if we're just showing them our teeth.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Right.
You know whether you're evicting or not. You do.
Mhm.
So if you're evicting and it's for a material breach of the lease, a cure or quit, once you serve the cure or quit and all the way through the court starting, you can't take any rent. You waive it. You're telling them it's okay, never mind. And then
So-
you permanently waive it if you accept rent. So if something's going on and you know you need to evict somebody and there's a nuisance going on, you want to serve those curables without taking the rent. But if it's something where you're just trying to show the tenant, don't forget I'm the landlord and I see you and you're in violation over there, you're serving a cure or quit as a courtesy to remind them that you're the person in the position of power. Doesn't mean you're going to evict them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how many evictions we do if we did that every time we served a notice? Oh, good.
So
night.
I'm failing to understand that, like I have 2 cases right now where the person has definitely overstayed their stay. As a matter
Okay.
of fact, it's supposed to be 2 people in there, and he's actually moved in 2 other people. One stays for the whole weekend, every weekend, and the other one stays every single day. And I'm about to prepare a notice to get them. So I'm going to be giving them not a 24-hour notice, but I'm going to go in there perhaps with a 24-hour notice to inspect. And then if I go in there and I see that there's others living there that's not on my lease, then I turn around and give them the 3-day notice to perform or get out.
Yeah, but can you hear me out really quickly?
Sure.
Okay. When we, meaning we as in corporate America, the professional property manager goes to a property to do exactly what you're speaking of, we don't do it that way. We do a preventative maintenance inspection.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
So not only am I going to catch the unauthorized occupants, I'm also going to catch the other things that they're doing that's a material breach of their lease,
Mhm.
like this unauthorized storage out on the back patio.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I'm not throwing one thing at them, I'm throwing 10 things at them.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because if
Yeah.
I'm seriously going to do this and I'm going to go through the course of an eviction, I'm going to make sure that I have every single one of my ducks standing at attention. And I
Sure.
want to throw everything because I need something to stick to the wall to get them out.
Okay. So I'm
So
going,
we don't serve a 3-day curable breach of covenant for an unauthorized pet. We serve it for an unauthorized pet, an unauthorized occupant, a missing late fee, torn window screens that were damaged that weren't damaged when they were moved in. They're getting the book thrown at them.
what about the lack of renter's insurance as well?
Bingo! Now you're starting to understand. If you're gonna throw it,
Mhm.
throw it all.
Okay. 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 Excellent. Excellent.
If you're seriously going to throw it, and I use the thing as showing your teeth. If you're going to show your teeth, show them all your teeth and bite hard, because you don't want to back down from that. Let me
Exactly.
explain, okay?
Okay.
If you have a bunch of teenagers, okay, and let's pretend you're a teacher, okay, and you
Mhm.
say, for everybody that doesn't bring home their homework on on Monday, I'm going to hang you outside of this window by your ankles. You better hang those kids outside the window by their ankles, because that's
Right.
what you threaten them to do. And if
Right.
you don't do it, they're not going to trust your word going forward. And what you're doing is you're breaking the management barrier. You're
Okay.
breaking the parental barrier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
kind of like when you tell your kid, you better not do that or I'm going to smack you. And you better get up off your rear and you better smack them. Even
Okay.
if they're 50 years old, sideways in the shoulder, a little smack. I'm going to smack you. You better do it just to let them know, yeah, you're going to get smacked. Same concept with your
Mhm.
tenant. You don't want to throw a long laundry list at them and then go, I'm not really going to evict you, though. I don't really want to do that. We're not going to go there. Okay.
So
Then
the
why
only way that I found out, Patty, is that I had cameras put up recently and I kept seeing this guy coming and going. And so I called him, and first he tried to say, oh, it's just my brother. And then I said, well, is he moving out in? And he hesitated and he said, I don't seem to know what the problem is. So, and now I still see him, and I
you're
warned
in a
him that-
material breach of your written rental contract and have more occupants than you're allowed to by law. If you
Okay.
don't do something to change it, I'm going to do something for you.
Okay, okay, okay. And would you be able to still help me with providing me a copy? I don't care if it's 30 pages. I want an airtight rental agreement. I'm not going to be doing leases anymore. 1-year leases. I'm going to be doing month to month from now on. That's just the
My
way that it is.
girl, that's my
Yes.
girl.
Yeah, yes. I'm not doing that ever again. We're done.
Hey,
So
you want me to
obviously-
give you the next thing that people go, are you kidding me, Patty? Because it's evictions welcome, inquire within.
Okay.
Patty, we haven't been renting to people with evictions for 20 years. Why would you do that? Because evictions don't show on credit reports.
Right.
So what you can't see, you're afraid of.
Right.
Start advertising it. Welcome them to come to you, because they're going to come to you and go, yeah, I have an eviction. It's really hard for me to get something rented. And you're going to look at it and you're going to know that the landlord won within the first 60 days of filing the case, because that's why the eviction's on the credit report, right?
Okay. Okay.
Don't we want that tenant that moves out in the middle of the night once we file an eviction? I know I do.
I do too.
I don't want the one that rakes me over the coals and asks for a trial by jury. That's damn straight. That's not
yeah.
the one I want. And we can't see them.
So am I going to be discriminating against Section 8 if my rent is higher and I'm not willing to go with a 1-year lease, because all Section 8ers are, 1-year leases?
I am questioning whether to sell this property in the next 3 or 6 months, is why I'm not interested in a term for time. And as an owner of the property, I have that right under current law. That may change come November, but under current law, You have that right.
Okay.
I'm not interested in a term for time.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, everybody got that term for time?
Now,
We
as
don't
far
want
as you-
those. We want a month to month.
month to month. As far as you know, is it true or not true? Or maybe you might have to do some legwork on it. But from my understanding from Section 8, and a few people, including attorneys, have told me they don't believe is accurate. But Section 8 says that if you want to withdraw from Section 8 as a landlord, you can. And what they would do is issue that tenant a 90-day notice to come in within the first few days to come in. And they would have to help find them another place because the landlord is withdrawing from Section 8, not participating in the HAP program anymore. What do you know
Prior
about
to,
that?
prior to COVID, we
Uh-huh.
used to be able to say that we were no longer interested in participating with the program and that we would be terminating Section 8. Are you allowed to not accept it?
I believe so, if my terms are different than what the terms are for HAP. No?
We're not accepting Section 8? I'm sorry, I don't accept Section 8. Are we allowed to do that anymore? No, it's
Absolutely not.
discrimination.
No, you
We-
can't. It's
we
called
have to
financial
accept-
discrimination. Yeah,
It's discrimination against source of income.
right, right.
So we have to accept Section 8. How are you terminating the program?
Because I'm having hassles with Section 8 themselves. They do not come
Does
through for
that
the
mean
landlord.
does that mean, hold on, let me ask a question, okay?
Sure,
And
sure.
I just want you to think through what they're telling you, okay?
Mhm.
So now they get the tenant out and that tenant's gone, okay? You re-rent the property. The next application in line is Section 8. What do?
I have to tell them that I cannot.
Are you discriminating against source of income?
No, I'm not
Yes,
discriminating.
you are. Yes,
I
you
am?
are. Yep. You can't say you're not participating in the program. You're forced to by our federal government.
Right.
So
I
how are they telling you that you can terminate because you're no longer interested in the program? Are they setting you up for failure?
I don't know, but they certainly told me that. They even told me what code section and everything else to go to because
I
they said,
heard an attorney say
Mhm.
something, and I'm going to repeat it on here. And we talked about this a little bit last week, and Arlene's going to have my back on this. An
Okay.
attorney said, you can raise your rents to whatever you want to for any single family residence in the state of California. Does everybody agree with that?
no,
Absolutely not. If you hold title as a corporation or a real estate investment trust, or even in an LLC, if you're in LA County, you can't do that. Number one. Number two, what about price gouging during a state of emergency? Was just California Penal Code 396, subparagraph B, which specifically targets rental housing is not being raised over 10% during a state of emergency, or the landlord subject to a $10,000 fine and 6 months in jail. Why is an attorney advertising that landlords can do this? Because it's what that attorney is willing to argue in court.
oh, okay.
I
So-
don't want to do anything to expose me to the federal government at all. So
So
I'm
if
not
I
going
go
to
10
advise you to.
If I go $10 over what the Section 8 rent is, that would be my grounds for not accepting, no?
Moving forward, I only do month-to-month contracts. I'm not
Okay.
interested in a term for time. Anything that you have current, let it play out.
Okay,
I would not try to terminate Section 8. There's no way.
really?
Prior to COVID, we used to do it all the time, no longer participating in the program. Owner no longer wants to participate. Owner no longer wants to participate. Now this new law comes up and says you must participate. So how are you terminating tenancy because you don't want to participate anymore? I'm confused.
I am too.
Exactly. So don't always take your advice from the enemy. Okay. Sometimes
Section
they
8
do.
personally told me the two of the top managers at Section 8
Who
told me
does
that.
Section 8 benefit?
Absolutely the tenant, in my opinion, not the landlord, but they told me that
Who is Section 8 there to help?
it's supposed to be anybody.
I didn't ask you supposed to be. I asked you. What you guys need to start understanding is the city, the county, the state, they're all there for the tenant. It's only your apartment association, your attorney, and people like me that are there for the landlord.
Right.
Make no mistake. And they will mislead you to do the wrong thing so that their tenant gets to stay in possession of the property. It's BAS, bureaucracy and BS.
Okay. Even though the person is not cooperative.
Yep, it's bullshit. I'm telling
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Not interested in a term for time.
Okay.
Okay, Val's got a question. Due to my handyman going over, oh, I'm sorry, I misread that. Let me try again. Okay, due to my handyman going to a few rentals for repair work, he has told us about bad hoarding situations. What notice and what wording is needed? I know hoarding is not the correct word, and I know it's not junk collector either. Pack rat, yes. One of these pack rats has already been served, but we never enforced. I wonder if we should just call code enforcement or the fire department. Her windows visible from the outside are blocked with boxes of precious junk. Code enforcement would be who you'd go after. It is a health and safety violation. Val, be very careful. Have someone else report it, not the owner of record. I don't want it to come back to you as harassment or something of the like. Please take note that hoarding is a mental disability, okay? It's a mental disability. So it's a disability. We need to address it as that. Whenever I've dealt with a hoarder or a pack rat, if you will, I have always served curable breach of covenant notices to clear a pathway, clean. It's mostly cleanliness, trash and debris, things like that. So I start on my cure or quit notices. And once you're ready to start attacking and doing the actual eviction, you're gonna want to realize that you are stopping to take the rent. So either you're serving it again out of a courtesy or you're ready to go for the jugular. Once you're ready to go to the jugular, you're gonna start serving them notices and you're not taking any rent. No money coming in, okay?
But that can work against her as well, though, Patty. Let me tell you how. I've experienced that before. So if you tell anyone, a friend or anyone else to call LAHD regarding that, when they come out, they don't give a darn who created the problem. It's going to always be against the landlord. And they're going to expect the landlord to do all the repairs, period.
Okay, and you're absolutely 100% correct. You are calling the cops on yourself.
Right.
Yes. But if the landlord calls code enforcement themselves, that is now deemed as landlord harassment against the tenant.
Exactly.
So you can't call code enforcement yourself. You can have a neighbor call and then you're not in trouble for harassment. Do you still have to address the issue? Absolutely. Do you still have to pay to correct it all? Yes. But you're not being sued for harassment by calling the county and making the tenant homeless.
Okay.
Okay. That's what we're differentiating is you're not the one calling. I don't care who calls, but not the owner of record.
Okay.
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 But yes, essentially you are calling the cops on yourself. Absolutely. That's what you're doing. And sometimes when I do that, my name is Fred Flintstone.
Gotcha.
So in other words, I've done it too. I've had to reach out to the city in regards to a hoarder, in regards to whatever's going on. Sometimes we can't do it on our own. We need help. Okay. You are calling the cops on yourself. But don't you call them. You let a neighbor call them, let your girlfriend call them, let a friend call them, let your cousin call them, but don't you do it. Not the owner of record. No, 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 no. Harassment all day long.
Patty, I have a question, please.
Yes.
Suppose you're in a lawsuit and suppose
David.
you are, hi, suppose you're in lawsuit and suppose you're a landlord being sued. In this state of California, is it better to ask for a jury or the judge? Can you give me general guidance? I'm just curious.
Okay, can I ask you some general questions?
Sure.
Is my tenant suing me in small claims, or is my tenant suing me in unlimited general civil or limited general civil?
No, it's a big lawsuit, you know, to hundreds of thousands of dollars, let's say.
David, listen to me very carefully, okay?
I am not in that situation, but I'm just curious to know.
I know, but listen to me very carefully so that you understand this and everybody else understands this at the same time. It's a great question, and I'm not going to give you a rock solid answer. What I'm going to do is educate you blindly, okay? Whenever you sue someone, you are not in control. Example, we file eviction. Are we in control? The tenant is. They can file a demur. They can file the motion to quash. They can ask for a trial by jury. So who's in control when there's a lawsuit going on? Whoever's being sued.
I just said the landlord is being sued.
I know. Who's in control? Who's ever being sued. Not the person that's suing, the person being sued. So to answer your question, David, mostly in unlimited general civil trial cases, a landlord's attorney is going to ask for a trial by jury. They're also going to file a demur and a motion to quash. And they're going to do all that stuff that happens to us, but on the other way. So those things are available for whoever is a tool for whoever's being sued. So when the tables turn, so does everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
the problem is, yeah, the judge is more level-headed, whereas the jury, you know, they go crazy with big amounts.
I completely and totally understand. And one thing that you guys got to remember when those tenants are asking for a trial by jury, 80% of the state of California is made up by tenants. So if you just picked a jury of 10 instead of 12, 8 of them are tenants. 2 of them are landlords. A jury isn't in your favor either. Patty's got some interesting topics that will be coming out very soon. My guess would be October, November-ish, right about the time of the voting. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on of understanding when to call your attorney, understanding who to call in the meantime. Okay. But yeah, I got you, David. Whoever's being sued has the power or the control to ask for trial by jury and all those defenses. Okay. Can I still call with the name? No, you cannot, Val. Don't you do it. Don't they? They know the number. They know the caller ID. They know the name. As soon as you call in, they're pulling the owner of record. They're looking at the address. Don't you do it. You know what, Val? Call David. David Yearman, he's in here on our group. He just spoke. He'll call code enforcement for you. You call code enforcement for him. I'm just being funny out loud. We're a team, you guys. We're here to help each other.
Right.
And
So-
yes, I have done it before. Not in LA County, and prior to COVID, I was Fred Flintstone. No joke. But since COVID, they say it's anonymous. Bullshit. You know what, Val? Let me use terms you understand. Okay. It's as anonymous as the We Tip hotline.
So what does that mean?
The We Tip hotline is not anonymous, and she knows that.
Oh, okay.
I put it in terms she would understand. Does that make sense? The We Tip hotline is not anonymous. It is also not anonymous when you call code enforcement.
Patty,
So
can I
keep-
have a question?
All right, what you got?
I just want to know how to say goodbye to an applicant.
Can't hear her.
I know it is so hard to hear you. Can
I
you
just
type
wanna
in your
know-
question?
I just want to know what the best way to deny an applicant based on their income, number of applicant, credit history, or
The best way to deny an applicant is to shoot them, but it's not legal. I'm being funny. I'm being funny. I'm being funny. Okay. I was being funny. I said that so straight faced too. The best way to deny an applicant is to shoot them, but it's not legal. Sorry. I was being funny. The best way to deny an applicant is to make sure that they don't meet your written criteria. If they don't meet your written criteria, then you're just telling them that they don't meet your criteria and sending them an adverse action letter. It is a requirement when you deny someone. It's the
Okay.
law.
yeah, but for example, if we only allow 2 applicants, but they have 3, and we just say based on only what the right way? I don't know right now. So many laws that I'm afraid I say the wrong way. I'm gonna get myself.
Based on information obtained in your application and your credit report, it has been denied. You will get a letter in the mail explaining to you why.
Okay.
Here's why Patty does that, okay?
Okay.
Working in corporate America, it doesn't matter if you tell them you're denied because you don't meet our credit requirements. Your FICO score is not high enough. Well, when I look online, it's high enough. Everything you give them is an argument. So stop giving them an argument.
Okay.
Ah, see how Patty changed things up a bit? And if no matter what you say to them, you're going to get argued back. I'm denying your application because it says you were evicted in 2014. I wasn't evicted. We had that case dismissed. Well, you can take that up with the courthouse. Anytime you specify a reason as to why they are being denied, they are going to give you 3 reasons why you're wrong. Does everybody agree with that statement?
Yes.
Everybody. Absolutely, right? They're going to tell you, oh, no, that's not correct. That's wrong on my credit report. Oh, this
That's
isn't
correct.
right. This is this. Oh, this is that.
Mhm.
I am so sick and tired of arguing with someone over fact and fiction. Okay. Everybody agree? Fact is their credit report. Fiction is whatever is coming out of their mouth. Okay. So this is what I started doing to avoid that stressful part of my day. I'm sorry. Looks like your application came back denied. Well, why was it denied? Well, ironically, it doesn't tell me why it was denied. On my computer screen, it either says approved or denied or approved conditionally, which would mean with a higher security deposit, a cosigner or something like that. This is just coming back denied. It doesn't give me any information, but you will get a letter in the mail explaining to you why it was denied, and you can get a free copy of your credit report. That should go to you in about 10 to 14 days. If there's anything else I can answer, I'd be more than happy to help you with that. You guys just got what Patty does when Patty denies an applicant. I lie to them. I tell them that on my screen, it either says approved or denied. It doesn't say anything else. It doesn't tell me why. It doesn't give me a FICO score. It doesn't give me any of that information. Do you know why I tell them that? Because I don't want to freaking argue with them. I have other things that I need to do. And quite frankly, you're denied. So you're a waste of my time at this point.
Right.
Does that all make sense to you?
Yes.
So that's how Patty handles that, even if they're approved. It says approved on your application. Oh, can you tell me my FICO score? No, it doesn't give me that information. But I'd be more than happy to give you a copy of your report if you want to come in and pick it up. Why? Because I don't want to get in an argument of, what do you mean my FICO score is 734? It should be 746. I don't want to get in the argument. Quite frankly, it has no bearing about my day and no bearing about the application. It is what it is. You either are approved or you're denied. There is no middle ground. So keep the way that you report that back to them the same way. If you stay out of the details, you stay out of the argument. The more you get into the details of why, the more you get into the argument. Does this make sense and click for people? Is this like helping you guys?
Yes.
Big
So
Please
what,
tell me. Please tell me, because if it's not, I need to know.
No,
But
no, you
that's-
are. But what
that's
I'd
how
like to know, do we
I
even-
avoid the argument.
do we provide them the information in terms of all of our criteria? In other words,
Absolutely. It should be on the front of each one of your applications.
okay, so if we're looking for a credit score of 680 and they just happen to be 640, that's grounds right there?
Bingo.
Okay,
If you require a 650 and they have a 649, do you have to rent to them?
no. The only reason I suggested that is because I read something, probably last year that stated this year that we were not going to be able to hold that against them as their credit scores.
For Section 8.
Only Section 8. Okay.
Bingo. Bingo.
Okay. Good to
Sorry,
know.
guys. I'm trying.
Good to
But
know.
Patty,
I'm trying to give you guys the tools that I use, because I used to spend a good hour of my day denying applications. That's
Mhm.
ridiculous. They're denied. They're done. They're gone. They're off your plate. You should not be wasting time chasing dead applications. I'm sorry. So that is how I combat it. And they'll come back at you 3 or 4 times and rephrase the question, trying to get you to answer. And you just got to be consistent. It just says approved or denied. I wish I had an answer for you. I'm sorry, I don't.
Okay.
It's that simple. And in all fairness, under the credit law, you can't discuss their FICO score or their credit report with them.
Right.
You are not qualified. So avoid all of that by playing dumb. Sometimes that blonde stuff really does help. I'm sorry, my screen just says approved or denied.
Mhm.
I don't know. You'll get a letter in the mail. Play dumb, because it frees up so much of your day. So
Right.
much. I'm just saying, okay?
I agree.
I'm sorry. I'll shut up now, but that's how Patty handles denying applications.
So Patty, how do I go about getting a sample copy of what you would present if you're a property manager today and say in LA City, forget.
Are you
county.
talking about my criteria? Because it's on Widget's Way. It's on my website under tools.
Yeah, but also the additional addenda. What else should we, because everything, neither company, not AOA or AGLA, none of them have the complete addenda that we need, all the way down to say having them remove their television antenna at the time that they vacate. That's not in there. And I certainly want all of those things in there, that when they leave, you got to take your goods with you. No? Can't do that?
Can I teach you something?
Sure.
You're gonna hate me but love me at the same time.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna share a story with you. I had a landlord who was very particular on what you did in her house. Okay. No sticky back shelving paper, nothing hung on the exterior, nothing hung on the interior. So now we're at no nail holes, no Christmas lights, no sticky back shelf paper. You still with me?
Yes.
She had this long laundry list of no-nos in her house. No-nos. Okay.
Okay.
All the way to what cleaners used on the stainless steel appliances. When it comes to restrictions in the legal aspect of things, the restriction that restricts you the most is the one that controls. The restriction that restricts you the most and is the most controlling is the one that governs you. Okay?
Okay.
It works that way when you look at city, county, state, yes?
Okay.
Same concept. Okay? Ask me the question again, because there was something else you said in the question that triggered my brain in a different direction,
Right.
and I want to pull that back out.
I want to make sure that I have an addenda that.
There we go.
instructs-
Stop.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. So she had a list of everything that you couldn't do in her house.
Okay.
She even said, no Christmas trees out on the curb for trash. Now you're dancing around religion. Be careful. She made a list of everything they couldn't do in the house.
Mhm.
When these tenants moved out, they had set a hot cookie sheet from the oven
Mhm.
on the linoleum floor.
Ooh,
It burned a hole in the floor. Perfect
Okay.
rectangular 9 by 13. Go figure. Okay.
okay,
Nothing in that list of what they can't do said that they couldn't put a cookie sheet on the floor.
okay, gotcha.
When you start writing restrictions, you're changing that big blanket that covers you. You don't like all that legal jargon written in the lease contract because you don't understand it. But what that does is it covers you as a big umbrella. Okay. When you start making special rules over here, the big umbrella starts going away. Because when it comes to restrictions, the restriction that restricts the most is what controls. So if your written addendum for the kitchen says that you cannot use sticky back shelf paper, you cannot hang anything on the interior or the exterior of the kitchen, you must use this stainless steel appliance cleaner on the stainless steel appliances. You cannot do this. You cannot fart in the house. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm being funny. When you go making all those rules, that big blanket one that covers damage in general goes away.
Hmm.
So I hear what you're telling me, but you're like, I need an addendum that says this, and I need an addendum that says that. And what you don't realize is your lease term already says that in very broad terms, and it blankets you. Don't take off the blanket.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
Because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not there.
okay,
And I'm teaching a class coming up. It's coming up soon. It's called Understanding the Written Terms of Your Rental Agreement, where
okay,
I start explaining to you all that jargon in the back. You're like, wait, what's a waiver? Wait, what's this mean? What's
Right,
that
right.
mean? That's when Patty comes in and goes, here, help me help you understand why there's just these blanket terms of the tenant can't cause damage to the property. But it's damage where? It's written so broadly. That's right, so that it covers everything. And when you start defining it in a different manner, that big blanket doesn't cover you anymore. Did that help you?
Yes, yes, it did. Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to spread the knowledge and make sure everybody understands why we don't define those rules specifically is because a lot of the times we have a big blanket that covers us. And when we start changing all those little things going on over here, it changes the big blanket. We
Yeah,
don't
but
want to
that-
do that.
But that big dish that they put on top of I just put a new roof on. It's only been on maybe 2 weeks already.
Modifications to the property without written consent of the landlord, material breach of their contract.
That's
they
covered.
They
Okay.
did have permission to put that up there? Yes, they did. But when they move out, that's something that needs to come off and be corrected. And if it's not, the landlord can do that and charge it out of the security deposit.
Okay. Okay.
But if you go start changing the rules and defining things, you take away the umbrella that does that.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Were the tenants responsible for burning a hole in the floor?
Huh. Yes.
No,
No.
because it wasn't listed on the rules.
Yeah, and I'm saying, yes, I understand. I understand.
I
And then-
got you.
Yeah,
You
and-
understand what I'm trying to teach you.
Exactly.
And just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not there.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to teach you.
Okay.
Okay. They write it in a big blanket so it covers everything. Okay.
So is that the AGLA forms, or are you making reference to all of the forms by all of these, agencies or companies?
Just because you can't read it doesn't mean it's not in there. Okay. I just gave you a great example with the satellite dish and material breach of the lease, making modifications of the property without written consent of the landlord.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, thank you, because the very case that that Fast Evict didn't take, I got an attorney to take it, and the tenant is actually moving out on the 20th. So I won that one. Now I got one more to fight.
Hey, honey, we're always in a fight somewhere. Welcome to the industry.
I've been doing this over 37 years, and this is the first time I ran into these situations that I have due to all of these new laws that have come in, especially since COVID. It wasn't always in favor of everything in favor of the tenant. We really had a handle on it before as landlords. I don't know what went wrong, other than we have a bunch of nincompoops that are running this city council and this governor and everybody else, but they have no business sense. I don't know how they can make decisions on our behalf when they literally have no sense of business. Some of this doesn't make any sense at all, such as us having to put in air conditioning units at our expense to save the tenant. They moved in knowing it wasn't air conditioning. They should be able to live with that. I don't think that should
Or
be,
move out.
or move out. Thank you. Live with
Because
it or
if
move
I
out.
have to put in a $15,000 air conditioning unit, I'm going to want a substantial rent increase. That's a
You got that
capital
right.
improvement.
Right. Because that capital improvement is like, what, $55? That's it. You can only pass on one half of the total bill and at $55 maximum per month.
It's kind of like becoming the state of New York, how
Mhm.
they made it so difficult for landlords to do business in their state,
Yes,
having rental property, that they just let the state take control. That's what they're
exactly.
shooting for here, folks.
Exactly.
Margot, we had an on-site insurance inspection done on our property recently. It's a new company and we have never filed a claim. They asked if any of the tenants were seniors, Section 8, or getting vouchers. We said we have seniors and not sure who is getting vouchers. I was very surprised that they asked this question. They can ask the question, and when it comes to them, the demographics don't matter. So they can ask all those questions they want. And one of the things that's going on right now is landlords are having a hard time. I don't have to tell you guys, you know about what's going on with the insurance. Do you know why?
Yes, because of the lawsuits.
And do you know where owners can't get insured? Because everybody thinks it's the state of California and it's only the county of LA.
No, it's in other places too.
It is, but it's more difficult in the county of LA than it is in the county of San Bernardino.
Really?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
We're seeing a lot more landlord involved lawsuits, like breaching the warranty to provide habitable premises, coming out of LA County versus other counties.
Hmm.
And let's face it, if we get served with a lawsuit, what's the first thing we do, folks? Who do we call?
Fast event.
No.
No.
Who do we call if we get served a lawsuit? Our insurance company, because we pay them every month to protect our assets.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. If your insurance company takes on the lawsuit that your tenant files against you, hit the easy button because you don't have to hire an attorney and you don't have to pay for shit.
Well, see, in this case, I filed the lawsuit against the tenant.
I understand, but what I'm trying to say is that's why a lot of law or insurance companies are pulling out of LA County,
Oh, sure.
is because there's a lot more litigious tenants going on.
Right, right, absolutely.
I just wanted to help people understand why this is happening.
Because if
Okay.
you say boo, they want to say, oh, harassment.
Huh, yeah, you think?
Yeah.
All right. I heard somebody else in there. Somebody else have a question?
Yes.
What you got?
Can I circle back to the applicant if how the
It's really hard to hear you. I got, can I?
yeah, I just want to know how to denial if we have an elderly person or handicapped that we don't have facility for them. What
No,
should
no,
I
no,
say?
no, 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 no. You don't deny them because you don't have facilities for them. They then come to you once they're approved and they say, I want to put in a handicap ramp. And you say, okay, you can do that at your expense. That's a modification based on your disability and I don't have to pay for that. You do.
No, I'm just saying before we accept them, through the application process, we saw in with you know, handicap and disabled, and they said they're gonna be there. So how do you deny them before you move them in?
You can't deny them if they meet all of your criteria. If they
Oh,
meet your credit score, they meet your income levels, you can't deny them. And the reality is, if they need special things because they're disabled, that's something they pay for and you allow to have happen. Example, someone that's hard of hearing moves into your property and they need smoke detectors that flash a light. Make sense? Because they can't hear it. Okay. Who pays for that? The tenant does, not the landlord. Tenant moves in, they're elderly and they want grab bars in the shower or the bathtub or the bathroom so they can get up and off the toilet. I don't want to go pick somebody off the toilet. I'm going to allow them to put in those grab bars at their expense. And when they move out, they have to put it back or I can charge them.
Okay.
It's called a modification to the property. Hold on. I use the wrong terminology. Hang on. I got to get in my little Rolodex here. It's called a request for reasonable modifications based on a disability. It's asking you to change the property based on them being disabled. Whenever they ask you to change the property based on a disability, the tenant pays for it. If they're changing the rules based on a disability, then it's at your expense. Example, my Social Security check doesn't come until the 17th of the month. I need my rent due on the 18th, so I have time to pay. That's a request for reasonable accommodations. You're changing the rules for them. The same way you would if they had an emotional support animal, okay? So there's two different things. One's changing the rules, the other one's changing the property. When you're changing the property, the tenant's paying for the modifications. Arlene, what am I trying to tell somebody verbally before they sign the lease? I forgot. We had an on-site insurance, they filed a claim.
You know, like,
I'm sorry, Arlene?
like not to put a contact paper on the shelving.
No, you have to put it on an addendum. But the reality is even contact paper is a modification to the property without written consent of the landlord. See how the umbrella protected? See how that works? Even contact paper is a modification of the property, right?
Right.
It is, hands down. So you see what I mean? The umbrella helps you.
Okay.
The umbrella and the legal terms help you. When you start changing the rules around that, you're only hurting yourself.
I see.
All right, I'm gonna get off of here unless you guys have something else for me. I didn't realize we were half an hour over.
Quickly, can we set up income requirement for the applicant?
Yes, you can say that they need to make 3 times the amount of the rent monthly or 2.5 times the amount of the rent monthly. The place where you can't have an income requirement is on anything that's federally funded. So Section 8, you can't have a minimum FICO score and you have to base their application on their ability to pay you. Example, if someone's applying for Section 8 and their portion is $12 a month and they don't have a job, they don't qualify to live there because how are they going to pay you $12 if they have no income? And we don't care that they're a hooker on the weekends. Just saying. I'm being funny again. Don't shoot Patty, okay?
Okay.
Hi Patty, I have one question.
Sure.
I changed the rule for my tenant for the poolman because my poolman that was cleaning the pool didn't clean well, so they got another poolman for themselves and they were paying. But recently that I seen some changes in the pool that he added some equipments that hooked to jacuzzi, and I did not give him any permission, my tenant, but I think their poolman did it. So how do I go about it to get rid of his poolman and get my own poolman? What is my...
You can let them know that you're going to be hiring a new pool man and paying them directly. But I have a question.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
if the pool's being kept clean and you're not paying for it, why do you want to change it up? I'm asking.
Okay, Mike, because what do you call it? He doesn't repair the way I want it to be. Like if I need something to be repaired done, usually my old Pullman would done it in 2-3 days. Like the lamp needed to be changed. He said he would do it in 2-3 days, and it's already 3 weeks, and he didn't change the lamp, and he's saying, oh, I need help from my tenant. I said, I did not ever give you permission to my tenant to help you with anything. So the way I see that he is working with the tenant of mine to benefit my tenant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or does
Yeah,
it
I understand what you're saying.
So how do I, or should I just let him clean the pool and leave it alone?
What
is
city is this in?
Tarzana? What is your suggestion?
I'd have a conversation with them and ask them if they plan on using their own pool guy, because your contract currently says that you're providing the pool service, correct?
It did, no, that I provide the pool service, but he has to pay for the pool. And then I, what do you call it, give him permission to use his own Pullman.
Okay, and now that was for a one-time thing, right?
No,
And your
no,
guy
no.
is,
No, I let go of my guy because he wasn't cleaning the pool well.
I understand. If you're okay with using this pool guy and you're happy with him, then continue to move forward. If not, hire a new one and let this guy know he's fired.
Oh, okay.
Don't overthink it. This is an easy one.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know your opinion before I do anything.
No problem. Anybody else have anything? And remember, you guys, we're not doing this next week.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else?
Have a great vacation.
Thank you. All right. Bye, everybody. I'm here if you need me till Friday and then back on Sunday. Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Patty.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Okay.
So Patty, anything that you need me for, you can just put it in the email. Thanks.
I will definitely do that.
Appreciate you. Take good care.
All right. Bye, guys.